So, Pacific Rim. So, if you're not familiar with Pacific Rim, the cool thing about this is they introduced this concept of kind of dual pilots that are cybernetically kind of linked together, and that they have to be like compatible to work together. So there's this whole kind of backstory about how all that evolves. But these are huge mechs, and you can go along and see in these previews why they had to be huge, because the beasts they're fighting are absolutely epically huge as well. One thing to take away from this one, for those that are interested in more how these machines operate, you know, in a fictional sense, but this one's particularly interesting because they have regularly show the gyroscopic stabilizer that they have, a huge flywheel in the background that you'll see spinning around. Because these things, if you just build stuff with electric motors, you've got way too many complex parts when it gets to be this big. And then also they use a type of a VR walking system. Let's see if I can find a clip of it, where they are like, they're literally walking in place. There we go. And so and again, they're kind of linked together neurally. So it was a bit more complex to describe, but they've got these devices on the ground that they're walking on to move the machine forward. So it's a pretty unique, because it shows a bit more of the inside scoop of it all. You don't see the incredible amount of G-forces that they are enduring, just being tossed around and falling over and stuff, but whatever. And there's one of the huge beasts. It's a pretty epic movie, set of movies, I guess. Anyway, so that's one of the things that's a little more inspiring in some cases than in others, to see kind of the new tech ideas and what it could potentially be used for in the future to help in these kind of multimodal environments. All right, let's see what we got next. I can't remember. All right, I didn't want to give it all away, but of course you've got Ripley in the Aliens franchise running the power lifter, power loader, whatever it was. In this case, it's not necessarily a weapon, but of course at the climax of the movie, it is a weapon. She throws that beast out in an airlock, or out the hole, or whatever. So this one's kind of cool because we'll come back to this a little later when we cover real examples of mechs that people have been working on or building. There's some good examples of this one out there. Beyond the cosplay environment, of course, all of these have some representation in the cosplay community, so it's kind of interesting, but I'm not going to get into all that today. I hear these guys are so excited. Wow, she can even operate these things. It's like, yeah, they're made for anyone to be able to operate. Come on, guys. All right, so let's see, aliens. What's the next one? I didn't put a battle scene in there. I should have got a battle scene ready for you. All right, next one you might not be anticipating. Well, let me just scroll back. Oh, the screen size. The APU defense sentinels in the Matrix. Just change the aspect ratio. It keeps changing on me. You remember these from the Matrix, but you might not, think of them as actually an example that you remember. I didn't remember until I was looking at some good examples. Might have to be 16 by 9, so it's gonna get all goofy when I switch to the next one. These ones, I always found these ones are kind of interesting because they're specifically designed for this scenario. Literally been created down here in the design area, specifically for defense purposes, right? and yet they leave the cockpits open to the operator actually being able to get hit really easily. And of course there's lots of good deaths in that one that show you why that was a bad design. Okay, so these are all just clips from other YouTube channels, but obviously if you get the original DVD you get some pretty good cinematic quality. What's another one we got here? Okay, see if you can name that movie. Oh, Darren gave it away. So this one's a really old one, but it was one of the earliest kind of practical effects. I mean, these are stop motion examples, but of a high budget kind of movie. Although it looks kind of low budget, but it wasn't at the time. It didn't make much money at all. I think it maybe brought in $1 million, I think they were saying. But so Robot Jocks, it's kind of cheesy and kind of gaudy looking, but it does follow kind of the Troopers kind of feel and color to it. And of course it does kind of have a Japanese flair to it, so it's kind of cool. Now I'm trying to remember what specifically was cool about this one, but they had lasers and things like that, and big mechs with people in them. So kind of another early one from before 1990. And we'll get into a couple other ones here in a second that are even earlier than that. Oh yes, the APU uniform suit from Avatar. One that I think I probably fell asleep watching Avatar, to be honest. But the you'll see lots of good scenes, especially with the disabled guy here to be able to walk in these mechs was pretty cool. And they're used obviously for their multi-terrain capability. And they showed a lot of the realism, whereas like what happens when the glass breaks, what happens when you need to get ejected, what happens when different hoses are damaged and things like that. So I appreciated the kind of the realism of it, you could say. Oh, even had mirrors in the cockpit.
Display that projected radar, active infrared, and passive thermal targeting data for the driver, as well as GPS if available, and night vision. These allowed full visibility even in the dark, or if the canopy was protected by an optional blast shield, though Pandora's strong electromagnetic fields often interfered with their sensitive electronics. External sounds were reproduced with
right?
field, though Pandora's strong electromagnetic fields often interfered with their
They talk about how sensitive their electronics were, and how the planet kind of interfered with their electronics, which is an interesting idea, except these things have been designed for deep space where there's way more radiation and stuff flying around, probably. And then too, you get a sense of the scale here. I don't know, it's a 12-foot one. There was a video that shows all the different heights of these armored suits that you could go watch, but I didn't think it was that interesting. We just know there's, like the Pacific Rim ones are huge, 14 stories or something like that. These ones here and the ones from, Alien and Matrix look like they're about 12 feet tall. And it's interesting when you can see inside the cockpit and see how the people are controlling them, whether it's moving, grabbing on and having their arm movements mimicked, or using joysticks. I prefer the ones that are more physically interactive, and we'll get back to why I prefer those in a bit. So that's the AMP suit. That's another one that I wouldn't have named kind of off the top of my head. All right, so we're gonna move out of movies for a little bit here now, and into, I'm trying to show the name of the video so you can go look it up, into a bit of the real world. So this is my inspiration. When I saw this creation, it was really inspiring for me to think, wow, if somebody worked on this, and maybe it was just a 1 or 2 man shop that worked on this. Oh, this is really an advertisement, so I'll turn it up. I'll let it run a bit. I'm not sure about the audio, so I'll keep it down. But the Kuratas model, again, it's fairly high. It can get high and it can be moved up and down. We'll talk a fair bit about Kuratas today, as it kind of touches a few different topics throughout the playlist. But the cool thing is that it's made in Japan by a fabricator, expert kind of designer who did it as a bit of a hobby project. It's one of the ones that rolls around, so it's not as kind of cool factor as the walking humanoids, but as you'll see, there aren't a lot of those anywhere. And even in the movies, sometimes it's a real stretch. But this one looks really solid, and it's marketed nicely, and is kind of, everything's well composed and cutesy and fun, like you'd expect from a good Japanese design. This one I was supposed to cover this one, but I'll come back. I'll skip over it a little bit. Or no, so the Kuratas one's cool because it kind of got me thinking, oh, what would this look like in the real world? And then it reminded me of cartoons, or TV shows. So we're gonna go through kind of some of the TV shows and anime and stuff. So there was the Transformer shows. I didn't watch these series, but this is one where Silas is merged with the machine and temporarily becomes quite a creation.
To save you, Silas.
Sorry, the audio levels I'm having trouble with today.
The logical evolution of Mech's experiments in biotech. Your brain fused with the donor's nervous and skeletal systems.
The perfect meld of man and machine.
Yeah, and see, I like this one because it shows you the inside the cockpit. Because that's where, like you're thinking, like, oh, that'd be cool. Look at the fighting, and then you're like, wait, I gotta climb inside that thing, get locked in. No, I don't think so. So anyway, that was a bit of a Transformers one.
Exquisite.
Of course, he then kills everybody who created him, and then of course Megatron kills him. Robotech. Those of you that aren't familiar already with the Macross Chronicles. Change this a bit. I'll just go back to this view without me, so you can see. I want to keep it kind of a review channel here for copyright purposes and stuff too. But anyway, the Robotech story books actually are really good. Check those out. And then in this one, it's just the intro, the first episode. The main pilot dude gets put in one of these in one of their aircraft and told to go quick, go out into battle. He doesn't quite know how to operate the machine. But for me, this was one of the, because I wasn't into comic books or into anime really at all, this was one of the earlier representations of the transforming mech that then became really popular with the other franchises that we'll cover in a minute. Let's get through to the transformation sequence. Doesn't know what he's doing, of course.
This is SDF-1 Control calling VF-102. Pull out! You're diving right at us!
Tell me something I don't know. I can't pull out. All the controls have lost their power.
Have you tried switching to configuration B?
B? What's that mean?
You don't know? Impossible. All right, listen. Pull down the control mark B on the left side of your console.
Again, I like this one because it shows kind of the operational challenges of being an operator in these things. It's not all just magic. In this case, he switches to this mode, which is kind of cool. Crashes into the city, saves some people's lives, learns to walk, all these things. It always cracks me up though how young they are and how their motivations are all so funny. It's like, oh, to impress the girl or to show off some new skill. But okay, and then in another one, then this is one that was recommended by some friends that I hadn't seen before. It was the Metal Skin Maddox 01. The kid discovers this thing in a box and gets to use it. Of course, he's late for a date with his girlfriend and has to get there, but all the robots and the enemies are trying to stop him from going anywhere. But he just needs to go and see her. I wanted to show you the fight scene.
The report said.
And there he's fighting one of his actual allies. She's like shutting him down instead. But then he still has to fight the big baddie.
I'm dead for sure.
It can't be. He's only a boy.
He's only a boy. They're all only boys.
Who are you? Just what exactly are you
Except when
trying
they're
to
women.
do?
I'm Sugimoto Ko.
Okay, so yeah, then they have to go against the big bad guy who they end up throwing off the building. So that's a cool one. I'm curious how long ago you seen this one. I only saw it last year. So interesting. And of course, the bad guy is the underappreciated guy who wanted to do way more damage and hurt people. So, or fight harder and forget the collateral damage.
And you...
And he jumps out, and this is the other thing I think about, because you're like, how do you get out of these things? Well, they have these emergency jump out capabilities that he does right at the last minute just to save his life before he gets dragged down with the tank man.
No! I'll kill you!
Anyway, that's the Madox 01.
Hey, Kaiju here. Today let's go over the original Gundam trilogy, Mobile Suit Gundam 1, 2, and 3. They are compilation movies of the first ever Gundam series, released between 1981 to 1982. If you've seen the movies, this video will help you understand the confusing part of the movies.
Of course, I've seen and heard about Gundams for a long time. I've never really looked into the stories, never watched any shows, and even need to reach out and ask for advice for shows from my friends to cover on this one.
They built hundreds of space colonies, and everyone lived in peace for decades, until the year 0079. The colony furthest from the Earth declared themselves the Principality of Zeon and started a war against the Earth for their independence. Many people died as a result, and the war continues as the movie begins. Three Zaku's.
And that's another interesting scenario too, is the colliding of cultures. So there's either some alien enemy that comes, some accidental ship that crashes, or some in like Pacific Rim, it's like these mutant sea creatures that comes out. It's interesting to see these cataclysmic collisions between cultures and worlds. That seems to be the spawn.
Who sneaks into a colony as it is being evacuated. We meet the main character Amuro Ray, who's tinkering with a computer.
And then there's
device.
always these like motivational stories of the young person who stumbles along something and has the fortitude to get it done and do the right thing, and rescue someone and learn how to do it and put themselves in danger. That's always interesting stories that way, right?
Amuro's father works on the Gundam on board the White Base. As the Earth Federation begin to load prototype mobile suits, the three Zaku that sneak into the colony earlier begin to attack. Knowing that the shelter that Amuro is hiding in won't last, he runs outside hoping to bring everyone to the White Base. It's a war zone out there. Amuro runs into his up with them and slices the Zaku in half with his beam saber. However, the explosion blows a hole on the side of the colony. To avoid causing an explosion, he stabs the beam saber directly through the cockpit, avoiding the reactor. After he destroys the two Zakus, Amuro joins the White Base.
So the cool thing I found about the Gundam was the idea that they do have some of these kind of arm wielded weapons, and you don't see that in a lot of the suits, but does here.
Begins to attack the colony directly outside. The ship's captain.
Because you start to get this mix of martial arts, right, and as well as the kind of the robot side of it. All right, let's go on to another one. I was trying to look up Voltron stuff, and they were saying go back even further to the Go Lion franchise as the predecessor to it all. I love the motivational singing. This could be a scout troop. I mean, these beasts alone are pretty cool, right? I should probably just have covered one of them. And there we go, join together. Now they're gonna do a robot. Isn't that great? And this is the kind of the interesting thing, right? Because there's 5 operators or 5 people in there operating different things, and then there's its big own head with its big own face, and it's wielding weapons. Like, it's a lot of stuff all in one. I really appreciate that. I think this might be. Oh, yeah. So again, another franchise I'm not familiar with. Early anime stuff that again, like I say, I'm not really familiar with it, but it had these mobile or mobile police suits throughout the series. And again, start to all blend together in a way. But you can see even the enemies and stuff in these stories have sophisticated alternative versions of everything, which I think is really neat, because imagine the animators and designers had to like come up with all of these different designs. It's pretty cool. I like the ones that are used for law enforcement or for military stuff, because it gives you actually a purpose for building them in the first place. And when you talk about it today, robotics, and everyone's got like, oh, when we get the price point down to 20,000, how many people will buy a robot? And you're like, well, like, if you have no purpose for it, unless it's for like security or some kind of transportation or heavy lifting, it's hard to really create a good use case for them. Yeah, I'd love to know if people are familiar with this series or this anime story too. I found a page that went over all the anime mecha franchises and stories, and it was so overwhelming. I didn't know where to start, so I just picked a few. But anime is not my strong suit, so that's why I had to go look somewhere else, and would love to hear your comments on what should get covered sometime. Okay, now let's transition over into games. Okay, so if you're familiar with Steel Battalion, and the best known for its elaborate controller system, where you actually had a custom console specifically made for PlayStation, and it was very much a mech, walking mech with 2 joysticks, targeting systems and battle systems, as well as radars and cameras, so you get like a first-person view of everything. I don't really go into kind of what I won't really go into what kind of mechs are in this, but it's similar to many of the ones you've seen already. Although some are saying that the mechs are actually quite unique and some of the best mech games ever. So not only does it have an amazing console-like environment with tactile keys that you actually push, but an amazing design as well. If you played Steel Battalion, let me know. Another game, Piranha, of course. Those of you who know the MechWarrior franchise, this is one of the first games I got into that actually was mech based. It was MechWarrior Online. This is the Solaris 7 version. Again, this is from 7 years ago, so this is old stuff. And I actually haven't even played this one, but I know that the normal MechWarrior stuff is... Oh, come on, timer. The regular MechWarrior stuff looks, a lot like this. The terrains, the mechs themselves. The only thing I didn't notice in some of the MechWarrior Online that I've played, I've never noticed wielded weapons before, like melee weapons. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder how that worked out. I like them. This is more of like an arena match one. Alright, and we got one more. Oh yeah, so again, so it's kind of a game, right, in a way, but from the storyline for Warhammer 40k. So I was told to go check out the Dreadnought. I don't know where the best scene of Dreadnought will be, but let's look at it later here. You get some nice cinematics.
Where are the traitors?
They are everywhere. Honor, brother. Join us.
Let's go.
And you may sate your rage and aid our cause.
Lead me to the slaughter.
Onward.
I love the combo of all these different kinds of mechanical creatures and enemies to fight. It's pretty sweet.
We have our chance. Go!
Alright, and Armored Core was the other one that was pulled that's pretty cool. Where did I get the battle? There you go, you got Keanu Reeves inside. Good character. Again, the heads-up displays on lots of these are really cool and inspirational. Remember the first time you saw like a Terminator movie where you're like, oh, look at the heads-up display on that. That's cool. What's it doing? These ones are even more elaborate, and they get into the infrared, night vision, all sorts of different sensors and mapping technology and tracking and so what do you think of Armored Core, guys? These ones look quite agile. Okay, you know, I'm going to show one more video and then I'm going to stop it there, and I'll do another follow-up on this one.
That was really exciting.
Okay, so I just finished watching the Fallout series, and I liked these suit designs. Were pretty cool, and they were kind of realistic in that, you know, you get locked into them and you're either helpless or you've got the power you need to get in and out. So they made some interesting scenarios in it.
Like really challenging and, you know, I guess also really rewarding.
We were amazed when we first time saw T-60 power armor in Amazon's Fallout series. And the best part about it is that the armor is real. It's a practical suit, not CGI. Producers turned to legacy effects, known for iconic practical props, to build a full-size, wearable suit. Although in the series Maximus steals a suit of T-60 power armor, on-set actor Aaron Moten was replaced with the stunt double Adam Shippey for almost every scene. Aaron, for sure, was sad to lose every single opportunity to wear such an iconic suit. There were several versions of the suits. The full one,
so it was a actual
weighing
real
110
suit.
pounds, and lighter versions up to 50 pounds. The stunt performer is so accustomed to wearing a suit that he even breakdanced at the end of filming. Do you want to get T-60 power?
So like Ian was a 110-pound suit, still he's able to move around. It was pretty impressive. In the next video, we're going to get into, as you can see here, we'll get some of the actual creations. Oh, I just wanted to show the thumbnail. I didn't want to show where we were going to go, but you know, Hacksmiths does a bunch of building some real robotic stuff, and I wanted to show a couple of samples from their set, as well as get into the big Megabots battle arena idea that came and went. So I'm going to leave it there for now.